Growing an email list is super important, and it's actually not that hard. The first thing that you need is an item of value, a freebie, a list builder, a lead magnet. They go by different names, and you need something that's valuable enough that your target market would willingly hand over their name and email address. Of all the things you could do to grow your email list, I have 3 favorite options. The first is a checklist. A checklist comes in really handy if there are a ton of steps to your area of expertise. The 2 times I've used checklists recently in my business, one was a checklist of all of the Facebook audiences that I use in my agency. No matter the campaign, no matter the niche, no matter what I'm selling, I start with the same audiences each time. There's cold audiences, there's warm audiences, and there's lookalike audiences. So one night I just wrote down all those audiences. I offered a Facebook audience checklist. The second time I used a checklist was for launching a course. Now there's a lot of steps to launching a course. How do you come up with a great idea? How do you market it? How do you actually make the course? Where do you host it? How do you promote it? How do you send the emails? There's so many steps to launching a course. So I wrote them all down and I offered my audience a course launch checklist. It was an exhaustive list. It's something like 72 items that you need to go from idea to a published course that's making sales. Here's a bonus third time that I used a checklist to grow an email list. My wife had a new course on how to host virtual events. She has an in-person boutique event production company, and she created an online course on how to do virtual events. Well, virtual events, kind of like launching a course, there are a lot of steps, a lot of things you could get wrong. So we sat down and wrote down all of the steps to creating a virtual event and then offered cold traffic. We put our ad out in the world and said, hey, are you looking at hosting a virtual event, but you're not sure where to start? Wouldn't it be nice if all the steps were located in one convenient place? Introducing the virtual event checklist. Those are 3 examples of times that I've used checklists in my own personal business, and a lot of my clients in my agency use them as well, and they've generated tens of thousands of leads in some cases just by taking all of the steps, putting them in buckets, and giving them to your target market. My second favorite type of list builder is a cheat sheet. Now for a cheat sheet, think about Cliff Notes. Maybe you didn't read the long novel and you were under deadline in high school or college and you just had to get the main points of the book. You'd reach to some kind of summary, some Cliff Notes. It wasn't a 500-page book. It was a 15-page handbook that gives you the main characters, the main plot twists, the main drama, without having to read the whole thing. That's when a cheat sheet can become really useful. Here's how I use a cheat sheet in my business, and you can use this as well. If there's a part of what we do that's really complicated, and people don't need to know all of the hundreds or thousands of hours that it's taken us to master that area of expertise, they just need the basics. For me, that could be something like understanding how to install a Facebook pixel on a landing page. It's a lot to that. You could read a lot of help articles. It's kind of complicated, and really it's something that most people just need to do once. They don't need to do it twice. So if you can give them the basics and give them the summary of what that thing is, that's called a cheat sheet. Just tell them what they need to know. So if you have something that's a really complex, complicated, lots of steps, lots of intricacy, something sometimes kind of technical, you can just break it down into a simple cheat sheet and just give them the basics. For example, if you were in the health coaching space and you had this complicated diet or complicated home workout routine, you could give somebody this new complicated diet cheat sheet or this complicated home workout routine cheat sheet. What's the summary? What are the basics? People love that. My third and final list builder idea is called a MicroCourse. I love MicroCourses. MicroCourses are kind of like cheat sheets, but they're visual or they're audio, or they could even be written. But my advice for a MicroCourse is keep it super specific where it has a definable outcome, a definable result. Make it binary. They either got the result or they didn't. And I would use video if you have to show them something complicated. I would use audio if you're more comfortable using audio, or you have a podcast, you can just record simple audios, and now you have an audio-only MicroCourse they can listen to on the go. And I've even had clients in my agency create a MicroCourse that's 3 or 5 days long, and it's provided completely via email. So there are a lot of ways you can use a MicroCourse to teach somebody something super specific, get them a quick outcome, which builds trust, and also builds your email list. So now that we have our item of value, our list builder, if you will, the second thing we need to do is offer it to people. I'll give you 2 ways to do that. The first is more common. It's been around for a long time. It's to create a very simple landing page using something like Leadpages, ClickFunnels, ConvertKit. There's lots of tools you can use to make a landing page where you have a simple headline and then you have a name, a place where they can type in their name and email address, and a submit button to actually join your email list and then get the item of value. So that's the first way to do it. Create a simple landing page and then create what I call a handoff page, which is the thank you page after somebody opts in. You can give them the item of value and then show them what to do next. You might be handing them off to a sales call, or handing them off to a more in-depth webinar or training. You might be handing them off to a special deal with a countdown clock and a coupon on a sales page to sell a low-ticket product. Whatever your approach of choice is, go for it. But page 1 is a simple opt-in form. Page 2 is the thank you page, and then show them what to do next. The second way, and something I've seen great results with in the last couple months is by going old school and doing actual lead gen on Facebook and on Instagram. There's a specific campaign objective called lead ads that you can use on Facebook and Instagram. And unlike a traditional ad where they click on a link and they go to a lead pages page or a ClickFunnels page or a WordPress page, they actually stay on Facebook. And so by clicking sign up, get more, learn more, watch more, whatever the call to action button is on Facebook and Instagram, it automatically pops up a form right there on their social media platform. And they say, is this you, your name, your phone number, your email address? And they just have to click yes. So there are a couple reasons we would like to do this. Number one, Facebook and Instagram want people to stay on their platform. They don't want people clicking off of Facebook or Instagram and going to some other place on the internet. They want them staying on the platform. So they incentivize these types of ads. They show up a little bit cheaper in the newsfeed. You'll get a cheaper cost per impression, cheaper cost per click, and traditionally a cheaper cost per lead because the entire transaction is happening right there on the platform. The other cool thing about lead ads is you can make your form look however you want. If you have any kind of custom questions you have to ask, you actually make the form inside of Facebook Ads Manager, and you can put custom fields, you can put your custom disclosures, your privacy policy, stuff like that. It all happens right there inside of the platform. Now, I know what you're thinking. The downsides traditionally and why I have so often shied away from using lead ads on Facebook and Instagram is because it's a little bit easier to opt in, you might not get as qualified of a lead. Someone just scrolling through their news feed, they're laying in bed at night, scroll, they see your ad, they click sign up, a pop-up window opens, and they just click OK or sign me up or whatever the button says. They didn't have to click, they didn't have to type a name and email address, so it's got its pros and cons. That means you're gonna get more leads that some would say are less qualified, but it's easier to sign up and you got them at a lower cost. Oh, and one more thing. When you use lead ads on Facebook and on Instagram, you know what happens? The tracking is accurate. Yes, if you've been running ads for a long time, prior to April 2021, tracking used to be more reliable. If Facebook said you got 10 leads, your email list would show that you had 10 new people signing up. It's not the case anymore, right? If you've run ads at all recently, you're like, that doesn't ever happen. I have no idea what's happening in my ads manager. With a lead ad, it's totally accurate. The entire transaction happens on the platform itself, and so Facebook knows how many people opted in. Then the last step is you just transfer those people from your lead ad inside of Ads Manager over to your email list. All right, we now have two things. We have our item of value, our checklist, our MicroCourse, our cheat sheet, and then we have either our lead ad or our landing page with the handoff page there as well. The last thing we need is eyeballs. We need traffic to hit this ad or traffic to hit this landing page. And my favorite, you might have guessed by now, is just by running Facebook ads and Instagram ads. It's the number one way to get qualified traffic to your offer so they can become a subscriber and join your email list. Now, it's been said with anything in business, you can spend two things. You can spend time or you can spend money. So if you don't have money for Facebook ads or you don't believe you have money for Facebook and Instagram ads at this point, or really any ad platform, then you're gonna have to spend time instead. Time in the form of writing a bunch of articles and trying to rank for your blog post about your lead magnet, then providing people a chance to opt in there. Time for promoting organic posts on social media and doing a daily Instagram story or Facebook story or a new reel or whatever platform you're on. It takes time to send organic traffic over to your lead magnet. And so if you're like me and you don't have a ton of time, you can just do as little as $10 a day on a lead ad on Facebook to grow your email list. I started a campaign 2 weeks ago at $20 a day, and I'm routinely getting leads for between $1.55 and $2.30. So every day I get 8 to 10 people that join my email list while I'm off doing other stuff, like shooting this video. The last thing that we need is traffic, and you can spend time or you can spend money. Spend time, do it organically, hope you send traffic organically, or just spend a little bit of money and pay to get your ad in front of people so they can become a subscriber. All right, that's it. You now know the 3 things you need to grow your email list to your first 1,000 subscribers. You need an item of value. You need a place to house that item of value and let people exchange your name and email address for your PDF or your MicroCourse. And then you now know you just need some traffic to do that. I've linked up in the description a couple of things. The first, if you want to take a look at my Facebook audience checklist or take a look at my course launch checklist, I've put those links there and you can go see what they look like, reverse engineer them, etc. You can have them and download the PDF. They might be helpful if you want to run Facebook ads and need some audience or want to make a checklist this year and you need to know all those steps. Those are 2 things there. All right, I hope this video was helpful, and now go and get some leads. Let's grow our email list together.